Chiefs, baby. One and
Yeah, what?
zero.
Yeah. What about him, huh?
What got the job done is what
Got the
happened.
Are we
job done.
surprised? Is anyone surprised though?
We called it. We called it. But this is the one thing they did mention it during the game. You may not have caught it, Tommy. Most Chiefs fans probably wouldn't have caught this because it was just they just barely mentioned it. Patrick Mahomes has broken yet another record.
Oh, good for him.
Is it a real
He
record or one of those little milestone
no,
things that we
Yeah,
like
he
like what
holds
is
a real record. He
was his tied
now
his shoes the most times while up by a certain amount of points in the fourth quarter? Good for fucking him.
he now holds the he's now the passing leader for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh,
Nobody
that's
has
cool.
thrown
Yeah.
more passing yards
That's cool.
in the Chiefs organization than Patrick Mahomes. He just passed Len Dawson with what a second quarter pass to Travis Kelsey.
Hmm.
He now holds a record with 28,507 yards.
How long did Len Dawson play for?
Len Dawson played for quite a few years.
I mean, he was the first quarterback of the Chiefs, if I
Correct.
am
Not
correct,
He's
right?
quite. No, no, no. Len
Oh,
Dawson. Len Dawson backed up somebody for a minute
that's
and
right.
then
really?
won a Super Bowl because he got injured and then stayed the starting quarterback.
Yep.
Mm.
Yep.
Yeah.
He was there from 62 to 75, but he actually started his career in 57 for the Pittsburgh Steelers and then short stint in Cleveland, coffee in Cleveland.
Wow. So,
Uh,
man,
And rest in peace.
yep.
yes, rest in peace. Him and at the time we're filming this, James Earl Jones has just passed away as well. That is very sad.
Yeah. News today.
Darth Vader, they will come, Ray. All that stuff. So, yeah, bummer. But good for Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. I mean, if he wasn't going to be in the Chiefs Hall of Fame like he is now, not that
they,
again, not that he wasn't going to
they
be,
have no
but
choice anymore.
yeah, I know. He
Not the
kind of
first
forced
thing
their
in the
hand.
party.
Will they name
And I
it
mean
Patrick
that
Mahomes Field?
I'm curious to see or happy to see or just to be able to be a Chiefs fan and see how
During this
high that
era.
number is going to be by the end of his career. You know,
What
like
we're in year eight, 28,705 yards, 507 yards.
Tom is the all-time leader, right? Or is it Peyton?
it's Tom.
It's
Tom
Tom.
is the all-time leader. Uh,
That's the I guess the next passing
By
yards.
a decent margin now.
Yeah.
And I think
Well, and
you'll
the other one too is like is the Drew Brees stat. Like nobody's thrown for more like nobody's had more seasons with 5,000 or more passing yards than Drew Brees or something like that, right?
yeah,
He did it
correct.
like 7 times in a row or some crazy
Yep.
crazy fucking stat like that.
Yep, that is right. And Tom Brady holds the record for yards in a career at 89,214. So Patrick Mahomes is on pace.
Yeah. Yeah. Do they
long
name
way
it
to
Patrick
go.
Mahomes Field after he retires? Like
Uh,
Patrick
I
Mahomes Field?
mean, is he going to pay for it?
No, he's paid in blood, sweat, and tears. Why would he have
As
to give
Naming
that
rights
as
are all
money?
about money, dude. It's
as
not
much as I would love to have that, GEHA is paying millions of dollars per year
right.
for
Oh,
that
And I don't even
sure.
know what they do still, but
It doesn't
health
matter, but
insurance.
no, and here's
yeah,
yeah,
we're gonna
exactly. No one
continue.
knows what GHA does, but everybody knows what Patrick Mahomes fucking does. Eh,
I mean,
eh,
I'm all
eh.
behind it. Put a fourth one on there this year
Yeah,
because
we'll
it's
see.
coming. There were so many things that I liked from this game against the Ravens, and there was a couple things that I didn't like. But we'll get to the not like before we get to the highlights. But overall, so many things that went right in this game. And the offensive line was there. We Patrick showed that he could just throw to every single wide receiver on the face of the planet. Like it doesn't matter. We
Yeah.
can force a rookie into the game plan and
Mhm.
not just force them like to contribute. We can force them to be absolute game breakers. There was offensively, there's almost nothing that could go wrong.
I mean, I think we had talked about that though, right? I know at least I had mentioned like Travis Kelsey doesn't have to win this game for you. You don't have to hit him for 10 targets and over 100 yards with a couple touchdowns. I mean, that's what he's done in the past, but I mean, you got your rookie and just all the other weapons. I mean, Isaiah Pacheco ran the ball well. Um, I mean, we kind of knew he could do that, but I mean, yeah, like you don't need to rely on one. The Chiefs don't have to rely on one or two weapons all year to be successful.
Yeah, Xavier Worthy, the debut was fantastic. I don't think I can quite put him in the top five.
Oh my God.
The names that I ripped off were spectacular, and he didn't quite have the numbers. The 2 touchdowns was nice. I can appreciate it, but not quite the best of all time. It's great to have on the Chiefs right now. Xavier Worthy is a part of a small list I saw earlier. Can forget who was talking about it, but 4 out of the 5 people on this list, they've had a rushing touchdown of over 20 yards and a receiving touchdown of over 30 yards in the same game. 4 out of those 5 players have played for head coach Andy Reid. So that stat, as much as it is a testament to what a great player Xavier Worthy is and can be, Andy Reid certainly knows how to use weapons. And
Did you mention that in last week's show that all 4 of those 5 were coached by Andy Reid at one point?
No. That was I saw a video earlier today about it.
That would have been
I'm
noteworthy.
I'm reposting that.
Speaking
Yeah.
of noteworthy, at the time we're filming this, Christian McCaffrey was just named inactive for tonight's game, and he's on my team. So I'll get fucked.
That's what that look was for. I just
Yeah.
went to go look to see if it was on Tybo's team, but it's not, so you don't have to worry about it.
Indeed.
Yeah, I was. I'm about 20 points away from the guy I'm playing, and Christian McCaffrey was the last guy on my lineup tonight. So
Dunzo.
I am owned. Yep.
Rip.
But let's get back to the Chiefs because that's happier stuff to talk about.
And to what you were saying, like the pressure in this, even though everything didn't work great, like it's week 1, we 27 points ain't bad, I'm not gonna, but we should really be like 30 points a game type of team.
I think we'll get there.
That's what we expect. That's what we expect.
But if your defense, like the way your defense plays, though, like 27, 30 points is enough to win games for you guys. In my humble
against
opinion.
some of the teams that we're
just
gonna
barely
play.
because they had a chance to win the game at the end. Harbaugh was going for 2 if that was an actual touchdown, buddy.
Yeah, but I mean, like most teams, most NFL teams will come back to like possibly set themselves up to win a game at the end. You know what I'm saying? Like even like most NFL teams will make it. Like we don't see spreads within 7 outside of 7 points a lot. I mean, most.
Yeah, this isn't college football. You're not going to have a 38.5 point spread.
Yeah, I mean, you're not even going to find a 10-point spread in the NFL is fucking insane. But I mean,
we'll see that a couple times with
this offense.
Yeah,
because of all the new options that we have, this offense 35 a game, 5 touchdowns a game. That's no problem. Okay,
listen, we put up 40 a game in what was it 2018? We can do it now.
Right. Exactly.
Oh, I'm not saying you can't. I just don't think
we have our speed guy.
I don't think it's necessary.
Everybody was worried if the Chiefs have the speed threat now. Yeah.
I think this team is going to rely very heavily on those 3 running backs. Isaiah Pacheco showed that he's shown that he can be an all-down back, but he, in that one game against the Ravens, week 1, has now proven that he can be the guy that you can consistently get the ball to. He will get you first downs and drain the clock.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't that way. It hadn't always been that way. And he's now shown that he can handle 20 to potentially 30 carries a game. And that's going to be a game breaker. And then you've got Samaje Perine. You've got he did okay. Missed a wide open pass. Probably won't ever see him miss a pass in this offense again this season. Like he was with the team for a cup of coffee before the game started. It's fine.
Well, yeah,
but I mean
that's him getting chemistry between with Pat and stuff like that. So
and I just think like, I mean, most good football teams are going to run the ball 30 times a game. At least if I'm running the ball 30 to 40 times a game and we're up, I mean, that's a good thing.
We're not. The whole caveat is being up.
I know you guys aren't used to that, but like in the basics of football, like if I'm running the ball 40 times a game, like you're not going to fucking win.
Yeah.
But if you're running the ball bad 40 times a game.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if you can't run the football, you're not going to run it 40 times a game, and you're just going to have to fucking try and get it done with the pass and hope your QB has some legs on him. That's just a fact of life when it comes to the game of football, unfortunately. But yeah, I think I really liked. Tybo, you had talked about we have to contain Lamar Jackson. He got his.
He did.
He got his. But the defense did play well. I thought.
That was one of the things I really wanted to talk about is because I said George Karlaftis was going to get 2.5. Said he was going to get 2.5. Everybody thought Chris Jones was going to have a great day. If it is anybody but Lamar Jackson at the helm, the Kansas City Chiefs walk away that game, potentially setting the NFL record for most sacks in a game. Chris Jones, George Karlaftis, and anybody who blitzed was in the backfield every single play. Like there's going to be a game this year, and it's probably going to be against the Panthers, unless that actually turns into a trap game, which is possible.
It could be next week.
It could be this upcoming week against the Bengals. I don't know. There's going to be at some point this season where we are going to be in contention for potentially tying or setting a new NFL sack record for a single game.
What is it?
It's going to be disgusting.
Like
I think
8?
it's either 8 or 10.
There's no way it's just 8 because the Derek Thomas has 7 sacks in a game by himself.
Okay. It is 14. It was set back in 1952 by the Giants.
So
by the Eagles against the Giants.
You said 1952
You might be
pre-merger?
overselling that just a tad bit because I definitely think the most effective piece was Chris Jones. Wherever when he wasn't gassed, okay, whenever he had his energy, stocked pretty high, that man was effective from wherever he was getting to the points he needed to get to. He was affecting the play every single time.
If it's Will Levis out there, Chris Jones has at minimum 6 sacks week 1.
I think if it's not like Kyler Murray or Caleb Williams
What?
But Caleb Williams got 8 up too.
Yeah, he got 8 up, but he can move. He's athletic.
Not
He's
quite.
athletic. He's a little bit more athletic than Will fucking Levis.
Save it.
Whatever. Yeah,
Save
whatever.
it.
Whatever. But to your point, yes. Anybody else besides Lamar Jackson? Honestly, you're probably going to hurt him. You probably go through one quarterback. You pull the old 85 Bears and hope you get to the second string quarterback.
But guys, like Isaiah Likely, nine catches, over 100 yards. Like they weren't doing whatever they wanted to, but when it came down to crunch time, if his toe is an inch way, like homie's got a touchdown and they possibly win the game. Like as far as a measuring stick wise, like this is probably some of the best competition we're going to get in the NFL. Like they have a shot to beat us in the postseason if barring injuries and
that was a big eye roll from Ty Bob there. Big eye roll.
I think yes, this Ravens team will probably get better than they were in week 1. It's week 1. Everybody's rusty. Everybody's like catching up, trying to get into form. But let's not beat around the bush here. They did not get better. Derrick Henry has no idea, and Derrick Henry is a fantastic running back. He has no idea how to run out of shotgun. He
hasn't had to, though. He hasn't ever had to.
But that's the point. He hasn't ever had to, which means he's not that great.
It's going to take some time. I wasn't very good at golf when I first started. I'm a little bit better now.
He doesn't have all the time in the world to be able to get that much better at this. And Lamar is not that great under center. And that's not going to happen in one season. That's going to take a couple seasons and some off seasons to get a hold of. That's not going to be this year. And this team they didn't get better on defense. They didn't really get that much better on offense. They don't have very many other weapons. Mark Andrews.
Roquan Smith was flying around the fucking field on Thursday.
And he also got laid out a lot.
And he got away with a late one too.
He got away with a
late one.
And let's not. This is the main piece, Tybo, that I really want to talk about because you said they could beat us in the offseason. Anybody can win on any given Sunday.
Postseason, you fucking bitch.
Whatever, find me.
Okay.
Anybody can win on any given Sunday, but we're still out Charles Omenihu, and we're still out Hollywood Brown. 2 massive pieces that we don't have right now that still need to be integrated into this offense and defense that teams couldn't handle last year when Omenihu was healthy. Now we're going to bring in another weapon on offense as well to just stack the cards. And we still have Juju, who played horribly. Like, I don't think anybody realistically stands a chance against this Chiefs team this season.
Yeah, and okay, now hold on here. How many teams do we say that about, like at the start of every year, and they end up dropping probably a few games in the regular season they're not supposed to and don't make the Super Bowl?
Not the
Realistically.
Chiefs. We're not losing in the postseason.
I'm not saying you are. I'm not saying you are, but this
I-
conversation has been had very many times in the past.
It's been said about the Niners, but they have a consistent injury history.
Hmm.
So like we're taking things out of the equation that we cannot foresee.
Yeah, but
So
I mean,
take
like
injuries out of
people said that about the Patriots plenty of times in the last 20 years, and they drop some games they're not supposed to drop to. The Dolphins have
because
the
Tom
Patriots
Brady's not that
fucking
good.
number in Miami, like, and then they've lost in the playoffs. Like, I'm not trying to downplay how good the Chiefs are right now. What I'm saying is like this conversation has been had before about other teams, and like they are going to lose at
Which
some
is
point. They are going to lose at some
which is
point.
why I'm saying like without if unless we would have dominated like utterly totally dominated this team won by multiple scores.
Yeah, if you guys beat the
Like,
shit out of them, like everyone's
I would
shitting
probably have a
bricks.
different tone here, but like this Ravens team, barring injuries to their key players, they could beat us in the playoffs.
I think if we have Charles
They
Omenihu
can.
and we have
Can.
I don't think they
Hollywood,
will, but
Right.
like they have, like they like what Tybo's getting at is they have the best opportunity.
One
Now,
oh
whether
no,
they
I agree.
whether they
They're
take
the only
advantage
ones
of that
in the AFC
opportunity
that have a
is
shot. They're the
no,
only ones in
nobody
the
else
AFC that
does.
have a shot.
No,
But if we have Hollywood and we have Charles Omenihu, I don't think that game is close. I don't think it should have been close. If that's a week 4, week 5 game, everybody's got Kim. I don't think the game's close even without those two. You bring those two in week 1, I think it's an utter blowout.
I
I
disagree.
think what we saw in quarters 2 and quarters 3 is what happens for 4 quarters.
I disagree. I disagree because I mean, if you have Hollywood Brown in there, like who's like Xavier Worthy's probably not getting that end around touchdown pass.
Oh no,
Which, by the
that
way,
that was game scripted.
that play call has been very popular this year. Georgia Tech ran it a few times, and somebody else did from college on the
say
weekend. There, it's
Texas or Tennessee. It was an
yeah,
orange.
someone ran it. The
Yeah.
the jet behind the quarterback, fake the handoff, toss to the guy with your tackle and your guard fucking pulling, or your tight end and your tackle pulling to the outside, like pin with the pull. It's a beautiful thing.
We've got the offensive line to do it. We got to wrap up
Yeah.
Trey Smith's deal, and we're set for the foreseeable future.
But I mean, like that touchdown, there was like Creed Humphrey and the rest of the right side of the offensive line was 15 yards
That
down the
was
field
a
blocking.
beautiful thing. I hope
It
we
was-
get the big boys in motion video guy that's like, oh,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
I need something for Creed. I need something for Creed Humphrey.
Oh man.
I want to touch on a couple things that I noticed that went wrong in the game. Some things that I didn't like. Nick Bolton, as good as he is at filling holes and run stopping, did fantastic against Derrick Henry. 14 carries, 36 yards, did absolutely nothing. We're his kryptonite.
3.5 yards per carry
And
and a touchdown.
Sure, did nothing else. But he also can't cover. Nick Bolton just can't cover. Dude is lost in the sauce every single chance that he can when he goes into pass pro. Isaiah
Yeah.
Likely, I get it. Dude's a giant human being. Like what are we doing? What he's very good. I like Isaiah. We've been fans ever since he was down there in Coastal Carolina.
That's a coaching decision. If like we need to minimize the amount of times that Nick Bolton has to cover Isaiah Likely, so that's
Well, he's gonna have to cover a tight end. Like that's part of his fucking job as a linebacker. You're gonna have to cover the slot.
Not the job I want him to do.
Mark Andrews.
Yeah,
please.
I know, but if you have to fucking take Nick Bolton out to put somebody else in, and
No.
if I see that, if I'm under
yeah.
center, if I'm standing there and I see that, like I'm probably gonna check to something different to make sure that like
especially if we're in nickel, it's it would be our swing safety guy that rotates like it doesn't have to be Nick Bolton, and I'm being serious. That does not.
Much rather see Nick Bolton on whoever the running back is.
He should
You're gonna have the head start
after
on.
1 or 2 times of seeing how Nick played on Isaiah Likely, that should never have continued to happen the rest of the game. So
yeah.
We should have never
But-
got to the fourth quarter with that big old long catch and him just getting put in a blender. I've not seen many guys get turned around in the middle of a field by a 6'7" guy.
But honestly,
Yeah, but
it
I mean, no,
wasn't-
I mean, you gave Isaiah or you gave Likely his flowers before this tangent here, and I feel like what you're saying is taken away. Like that is an amazing athlete. I think you have
I'm
to.
always going to give flowers to Isaiah Likely. I'm also going to take it away from Nick Bolton because a guy who's asking for at minimum $15 million a year
You should
for the
probably be
middle
able to cover.
linebacker position, you should be able to cover a 6'7" guy and not get lost in the sauce.
How tall is Nick
don't-
Bolton?
6'2".
6'2". That's a whole head difference.
Yeah, you should be able to see him and track him wherever he's going.
Yeah, well,
I'm not asking you to compete for a toss-up ball. I'm asking you to just cover.
But just like Willie Gay's gone, like
Yeah,
Nick
but
Bolton
I mean,
could very
dude.
easily be out the door. We do not have to pay him. We traditionally the Kansas City
5'11"
Chiefs
number.
organization,
5'11". Oh,
safeties, DBs, linebackers, we don't pay them. We keep
Who,
them on
Nick
their
Bolton?
rookie contracts while they're good, and
He-
then we don't pay them.
Also, Isaiah Likely 6'4".
6'4". Okay, so that's a 5-inch
6'4" and
difference. But that's
5'11".
the mismatch I'm looking for. If I'm an offensive coordinator, like that's the fucking mismatch
again,
I'm looking for.
but it wasn't 50-50 balls. They weren't over the
A
top balls.
mismatch doesn't have to be a 50-50 ball. A mismatch is I'm gonna fucking burn you on a 10-yard out. I'm gonna fuck you up on a bending corner. Like the mismatch is not just the 50-50 ball.
No, I get it, but it shouldn't have been a mismatch for a guy. What I'm saying is it shouldn't be a mismatch for a guy who's good. Do not expect Nick Bolton to be on this team after the 2024-2025 season when the Chiefs raise the Lombardi for the third time in 3 seasons. Do not expect Nick Bolton to wear that uniform again. Unless he's
I agree
willing
with
to
you
come
though
down
that
to
like
8 million a year, 8 to 10 million a year. Otherwise, he's not a Chief.
I would say though like now this might be blasphemous what I'm about to say. Did did Spags get a little bit out coached there in the second half, maybe and late in the fourth quarter? Like, could that also be the problem? Because you say you can't put Nick Bolton in that position. Well, the guy putting Nick Bolton in that fucking position is Spags. So, like, did Spags get a little bit out coached?
I think that's
Not completely because they
that's-
won.
unless that's at least what I was hinting to earlier as well.
Yeah,
Because I also think the secondary looked a little mixed up at times because that we could not stop them on that last drive, and they very easily could have beat us. I'm gonna keep saying that.
do they beat you if they score that touchdown and go for 2? Do you stop them or do you not?
Honestly, like in situations like that before, like even sometimes while we have had Patrick Mahomes, like Chiefs are gonna chief. Like we kind of fumble the bag in stupid spots sometimes. That's we're getting rid of that because we are now back-to-back Super Bowl champions. But like we kind of pull some dumb shit in the regular season sometimes. So, well, it did traditionally. It wasn't always in the regular season. We pulled dumb
Ty
shit in the
Bob?
playoffs.
Ty Bob, they score that touchdown, they go for 2. You guys stop them, or do you give up the 2-point conversion and lose?
I was not worried 1 second when Harbaugh came out and said go for 2. There wasn't a single doubt in my mind. I was like, okay, fine, touchdown, gave it up. The thing about our defense is it's a bend don't break. And it's one of the things that I absolutely have hated about our defense for a long time.
That's how you have to play defense, man.
Before Spags like came in and changed everything, and even then I was still very critical of Spags. I wasn't a big fan of him. I've now changed very much like I have on George Karlaftis, on Steve Spagnuolo. No, I was not for a second worried the minute John Harbaugh goes 0-2. I immediately knew, hey, we got the game wrapped up.
Well, just the same way they scored their first touchdown with Patrick Ricard leading the way for Derrick Henry, I feel like they easily could have punched it in. Lamar Jackson's dynamic, and he hits a spin move on a D lineman and he might squirt into the end zone. Anything could have happened right there.
Well, see, I probably would have given. Now, this is Monday morning quarterback talk at its finest, but I probably make it look like we're going right up the gut and then have Lamar pull it and race somebody to the corner.
Would have been the smart move. I honestly would have, with the way that they were scripting those plays in the fourth quarter. If they go for two, I was not expecting them to line up in I form or weak. I expected it to be shotgun or pistol,
Really?
and either do a read option or they were going to force the throw and maybe nothing's available. Nothing would have been available, and then Lamar has to run it in, but he's hawked down. Like that would have been my guesses on what they were going to do from 2 yards out. Is
See,
that
I was
shotgun?
definitely thinking I formation with
That would be
some
the smart
trickery to
thing,
the
but
outside, with some trickery to the outside.
no, that would have been the smart thing to do, but I did just I've seen the Ravens crumble too many times with Lamar under the helm to expect them to actually do the smart thing.
You and everybody else. You and everybody else.